Bill White's Midday Rant is a short, sharp take on what's happening and how it relates to you. Agree or disagree? Listen to middayrant.com today.
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out how we got into this mess. How is it that governments all around the world find themselves empowered or emboldened to take billions in taxpayers' money and to send it to support Ukraine without a national referendum? Not that I support referendums, because I don't. But here in the UK, for example, people are being told that they'll need to wait 9 hours for an ambulance while our government ships ambulances to Ukraine. And in the United States, the House of Representatives has passed a bill to send another $40 billion to Ukraine, bringing the total to $58 billion this year. And that bill is currently being considered by the U.S. Senate, and frankly, the only thing preventing it from being passed is Senator Rand Paul, who is asking for an amendment to add an oversight requirement. In other words, to monitor who gets the money. This seems to be a real problem for both Democrats and RiNOs alike. I want to focus on who said these elected officials can spend our tax money outside the country at these outrageously high levels. I'm not saying they haven't done it before or that there isn't a provision in some law passed by our leaders to do it, but I am asking again, who says they can do it? The answer is really quite simple. We do. We allow them to waste our money, and they have become really quite proficient at doing it. Another question I have is, when are we going to do something to stop them from wasting our money? Many people, our citizens, are really suffering. For over 2 years, our government imposed ridiculous restrictions upon us, closed nearly every business, prevented us from working, and in many cases forced people to submit to experimental medication that was both unnecessary and ineffective. What long-term harm that drug will cause is anyone's guess, but what we know is that the actions of our government have nearly bankrupted our nations. And naturally, being nearly bankrupt, these idiots that lead us think it's a great idea to send billions in money and equipment to Ukraine, which, for the record, and as a side note, didn't submit to the mass vaccination of its citizens. But I digress. Our countries are struggling under the pressure of runaway inflation. We're beginning to experience food shortages, including baby formula in America as just one example, while our government supplies Ukraine whatever that country needs, including baby formula, food, fuel, and ambulances, not to mention limitless supplies of cash. I know this is going to sound really harsh, but I don't care what Vladimir Putin does in Ukraine. If he attacked the United States or Great Britain, how many billions would Ukraine send our way? Oh, I know Ukraine has paid former Vice President Biden's family tens of millions, but somehow that doesn't help us, does it? Our governments, supported by corporate media, have convinced a great many people to add a Ukrainian flag to their social media profiles, making everyone more sympathetic to their plight. When I log into my bank's app, I'm encouraged to donate to the DEC's humanitarian appeal. Most of the large companies are in on this fleecing as well, with endless links to donate and others promoting pro-Ukrainian news in our news feeds. And if that isn't enough, which you could almost accept, government also takes our taxes without asking and sends them to support Ukraine while our citizens suffer. And if you listen closely, you can actually hear our leaders say, "Qu'il mange de la brioche." Well, I have another question. You have cake? Or did they send that to Ukraine too?